And
great. Let me
you
go.
can feel free to check your
Yeah.
page if you want and share it if it's not there from my page, whatever you want to do.
All right.
So, Mary, what I'm going to do as it goes live is I'll do the intro and then I'll come back and talk to you. So,
Okay, great.
should be live right now. Facebook family. Woo!
Hello.
Yes, she's friendly, you guys. We have a wonderful guest. I met her at Dat Phan and Friends. We've been on a couple shows, and she's hysterically funny. And you should check her out and support her comedy. And that's the purpose of Comic Spot, so that people can get on here and take off their mask, so to speak, and let us get to know them so we can decide that we do want to support their comedy. So listen up, because we're going to get deep. We're going to go into her life and we're going to find out who she is, what things does she love in life, what is she trying to do in the world, how does she want to be remembered, and then some fun things too.
All right.
So let me read the bio of the wonderful Mary Becquet. Do you pronounce it Becquet?
It's pronounced Becquet.
Becquet. I love it. Sounds French. So I don't want to do my impression of Jiminy Glick, but I could start doing that real easily. Okay, here's her bio. I'm going to be serious. Mary Becquet moved from Texas to Los Angeles because she wants to be around more people who don't like her. She loves Asian culture, math, and cats. She has featured on tour for Dat Phan and Mike Epps. Oh my gosh. Catch her on the Oxygen Network on Buried in the Backyard. Here she is to talk about all things Mary Becquet. Mary Becquet. Woo! Welcome to Comic Spot.
Thank you
Hi.
so much. Thank you, Linda. It's so great to see you. I love that you do this. This is so great to be able to communicate out about, comics and comedians and, you know,
Yes.
the life beyond the joke.
Yes. I love doing this. It's so fun, You meet people, you get to know them, and then people I know and love get to meet you. And I've had people go off and promote and go to shows for other comics, and it's a great feeling. It's like having grandchildren.
That's great. Yeah, that's really nice.
Yeah. So talk to me about who Mary Becquet was as a little child. Paint us that picture. What were you like? What was it like to go to school and see you in class and walk the halls with Mary Becquet? I bet you're a crack up.
Oh, I was a smart aleck kid for sure. Always have loved trying to make people laugh. At our family dinner table, we always used to try and, make each other laugh. So that was fun. I grew up in Texas, Austin, Texas, when I was super young. And just like any other kid, we had horse and chickens in the backyard. And, we're the same generation, Linda. So we went out and played kick the can until 10 o'clock at night. Our parents were like, yes, get out. They wouldn't let us in the house during the summer. They're like, no, you go outside and play. If you're thirsty, drink from the hose.
That's right. Yes. Now we're talking.
Yeah. So, grew up riding horses, stealing my dad's cigarettes, smoke them in the woods, that kind of thing. Normal kid stuff.
So the people that hung out with you, did they have any inkling what you were going to grow up to become? A comedian?
I don't think so. No, we were all just, Texas kids. I think most of us girls, we just want to get married and have a family. We're always like, oh, my wedding this and my wedding that. And, oh, who am I going to marry? Just, that kind of thing.
All that stuff. Oh, I know. I couldn't wait to have a child. I had to have a child.
So cool.
Yeah. So you're from Austin and I'm from Portland, and we've been fighting. Our cities fight over who's keeping it weirder.
Super liberal cities. Yeah. You know what? It's funny. My father was very conservative. Like in Austin, say in the late 60s, there was this countercultural place called the Vulcan Gas Company. and just bands and weed, whatever. It's just a club. My dad, because my brother used to sneak out and go there, my dad used to go just stand on the corner with a machete. What was he doing? I don't know. Anyway, yeah, Austin, we had the Armadillo World headquarters. It was a great place to grow up. It was fun.
What's the craziest thing you ever saw go down or read about in the newspaper or on TV? People don't know what a newspaper is, but what's the craziest thing you ever saw happen in your hometown as you were growing up?
Oh my gosh. In Austin, for sure, I saw a guy get stabbed
What?
at Barton Springs, which is like an iconic Austin landmark. But, when I was coming up in Austin, it was the 70s, late 60s, 70s, and it was sketchy. Barton Springs, yeah. Oh, there was a big crowd out front and a guy got stabbed, and my parents were like, okay, let's go. All right, we're leaving.
Oh my gosh. What kind of parents did you have? Really cool parents?
Yeah. Oh, my parents were great. You know what? My dad was in the military. He was lifetime Navy. Yeah.
Awesome.
NCO. He was a chief petty officer. And then he spent, 30 years in Fleet Reserve. And he was in 20 years before he retired. And my mom was an artist, also like feminist. She always encouraged us girls to do or be whatever we wanted.
That must not have been easy for her to stand up for feminism.
It was not. People made fun of her in the neighborhood.
I'll be darned.
But my dad supported her. My mom was way ahead of her time. She was a writer and a gardener. She wrote articles for the Organic Gardener magazine. I think it might be defunct now. But my parents, they just had the skills that they were brought up with, right? So neither of them went to college. My dad didn't even finish, high school, but served in the Navy. So that's how they lived their life, right? They did what they thought they were supposed to do, and they did it. So, I'm lucky. I think I'm lucky I have that upbringing because, I set my mind to something and I'm going to do it.
Yes. I don't know about you, but if you tell me no, let's say I want to do something, and you tell, I go into a VA hospital and I want to bring a show there, and they tell me no, thank you. I get in a conversation and I keep talking till I hear no because, and then I find a way to make it a yes. I'm stubborn in a good way. Are you too?
Same. Yeah. And I think, that's just called drive, right? That's just like a drive to reach your goals. So good for you. I love the idea of you bringing those shows to the VA hospitals. I'm sure they appreciate them a lot.
Thank you. It's so hard. You get so much resistance.
Yeah.
The VA is so afraid that you'll trigger a veteran. And they're like, well, no, we're afraid you might trigger. Well, then why don't you change the word trigger?
Yeah. Or be careful about, I had a running show for a year at a homeless shelter in San Antonio. And it was the same thing. I had to have my comics be very careful, like no jokes about violence, no jokes about domestic
drugs.
Violence, right?
Yes.
No jokes about drugs, no jokes about drinking and addiction. Yes. Anything else, and clean. So, but if you can, and like a lot of we had even headliners, national headliners come through and do that. It was a daytime show. And residents loved it. So,
yes. They have a homeless shelter in Portland, Oregon at Transition something or the projects. And for a year, that's what I did too. Same. I just kept getting sick because I guess my immune system for a population that's been out in the cold in the streets and everything, I was picking up everything that, and I could stand outside and talk to them all day long and make them laugh. But if you get in I was in a boardroom with 10 at a time, teaching them comedy and trying to get them on stage.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Oh, that's fun. Yeah. That must've been fun.
Yeah. So what other places have you done comedy that aren't traditional comedy places that other comics don't really want to do, but you did?
Well, I've definitely done internationally. I've done comedy in Singapore and both in clubs and just at dive bars in Singapore. I lived in Singapore for a while. And so, same kind of grind with gross bars.
Yes.
Right.
What's that like? Tell me some good experiences or weird ones because of the culture difference.
Well, you know what? I added some punchlines in Chinese because I learned Chinese. Like they told you to learn Russian, right? When I came up, it was learn Chinese. You're going to be able to use it. So I actually majored in Chinese in college. And when I added punchlines in Chinese, people are like, Chinese people are like, what? So that's fun when you can add that, and I got to meet people coming through from Malaysia and, People's Republic of China. So it was a great way to network. Gosh, I did that about a year ago. Is the last time I went.
Are you going to go again?
Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. When we
That's
can all travel again,
yes.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Have you ever thought about doing military comedy around the world, like with Armed Forces Entertainment?
I would love to. I just,
Me
I
too.
don't know. I had someone who was going to pitch. I put together a tour with a headliner, and then for whatever reasons, either they didn't pitch it or they didn't catch it. we didn't get a nibble on that one, but I would love to do that. I mean, it's a career goal because Sally Mullins did it a couple times, and I have friends in Texas who've done many, many, many of them.
So you have connections where you could wind up doing that.
I hope so. Yeah, that's definitely a goal.
Me too.
Because I have great respect for our troops, and I know that people who serve, like as my own father, they do it for the greater good. Maybe a lot of other different reasons too, but like, I would love to go entertain them and make them laugh. I think it'd be super fun. A great way to minimally try and repay.
Yes.
All of us.
Everybody says I look like Marilyn Monroe. Bob Hope brought Marilyn. Maybe, just kidding. I don't look like Marilyn. I make jokes about it.
Oh, actually, you do. You got to put on that ruffledy white dress and stand over a subway. You're a little hottie. I'm so jealous of you, Linda. I'm like, she's hotter than me. I am like a very terrible person.
I never had a goal to have people be jealous of me, and I've never gotten compliments in my life until I turned my hair blonde and got a tight tuchus and got new teeth.
Oh my God, your teeth are beautiful. I know. I've been seeing all these exercises that you do, that 2000 kicks and all. I'm like, whoa. Oh, and your tummy's so tight. Oh no, I have to keep all mine covered up. We keep all this covered up.
I used to do those exercise videos every day, and I had have so many people just like talking to me about it, like you're so encouraging. Yeah, because I'm old, right? That's not a compliment. You're so encouraging.
Go ahead.
What's behind it that they're not saying.
Oh, but you know what, Linda, I think it's really important that's why I love you and I follow you, because like you are a great example of someone who's living life to the fullest, doing what you love, and like proving, what, age is just a number. Do what you do that brings you joy.
Yes, this does bring me joy. Have you gotten a lot of joy out of being on stage?
Oh my gosh, so much. Because I have a day job that I work to, survive and stuff like that. So comedy for me is a second job. It is a full-time job. So I basically work two jobs. But
got it.
Like, there's nothing else like it. I mean, of course, there's the dopamine of performing, but there's also like, it's important to me to bring hope to people, right, who might be feeling down, and to give people that fun experience and like a connection. It's really important to me. I love comedy. I will never stop doing it.
That's so cool. So in that vein, what is it that made you decide to start doing it? I know what made me start, but I find it super interesting to hear everybody's ignition. When did they flip that switch and go, yeah, I'm going to do it?
My comedian origin story. Okay. So as I told you, I have a corporate career in corporate finance, but I have this weird personality where I've never been able to advance to be very senior. And in fact, sometimes got fired. But anyway.
It never happened to me.
Right. Because of just character flaws. So I was working at Sony Pictures and I was a VP of finance, but I was sidelined My career was not going anywhere. I knew it. Everybody knew it. It was just a matter of time till I got booted. But, and so I was,
So funny.
yeah, and I was unhappy, and I just stopped paying attention to my job. And in all the finance meetings, like I ran a big department, I would just sit in my meetings and write insulting things about all the people in the meeting. And I wrote this whole thing about like the whole finance department and the CFO, like my life on the D list in finance. I'm like, well, I'm the D list, you know, he's the A list. So, and I put the whole finance department in A, B, C, D list.
That's the name of your book, Life on the F List.
Right. And then here's what happened. I did that in my meetings notebook, and we had an offsite, VP and above. So everybody senior. And my boss gave me tickets to a baseball game. So I was in a rush and I left early. And I forgot my notebook. All that information and my name in it. And, you know, at Sony Pictures, man, they like to drink. So they were all drunk as shit. And apparently I wasn't there, but I heard reading that out loud to each other. And finally, someone called me, like during the 7th inning stretch. Someone called me, and she was drunk. She's like, "Did you forget your book?" And I was just like, "Oh my god!" And so I just instantly made up a lie. I'm like, "Well, that's my stand-up comedy routine." And then I ran home and found a class and signed up for it to back up.
That's hilarious. Have you ever said this bit on stage?
I have not. I haven't.
That's hilarious. That's got to be something you do. Just, you don't even have to write it. You just said it. Just perfect that way.
Oh God, it's just so hard to feel like such a loser and then go like, oh my God, there's a career for losers. Stand-up comedy.
We don't come from any kind of pain at all, right? No.
Right. Oh gosh. I mean, and to me, like when I get disappointed in myself, maybe I'm not the person I want to be always. I'm like, well, at least maybe other people can relate.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I had a teacher. Okay, so I'm part Jewish and I'm the wrong part Jewish. For Jewish people, it has to be from your mother. And I got it from my dad. And I had it, I was at Washington Mutual, and I can say that because they're defunct. I'm so sad. Anyway, when I was there, I had a Jewish boss, and she was like, "You're not really Jewish, so I'm going to get rid of you." And I was counting the days till I lost my corporate training job because I didn't have the right birthright. And so I decided to overachieve. And she was like, anything that she needed done, I would volunteer to do it to keep my job, you know. I got myself in so much trouble volunteering for things I wasn't qualified to do. I mean, I could do an hour on the things I did in that department that, you know, I finally lost the job because that was the goal she had in the first place. But it's funny now. It wasn't funny then.
Yeah. It was hard for me too. I did eventually get fired from Sony Pictures, but I got hired by a company that sent me to Singapore. So it was great. Actually, it worked out for the best.
That's so cool. Was that a finance job in Singapore?
Yeah, it was. It was for a payroll company. They had invented an app for payroll. It kind of sits behind other apps. And so because I speak Chinese, they were like, well, go clean it up in Singapore. And so I stayed out there a year. I was based there a year. And my husband came over every month, you know, and we had the conjugal visits. Fun. Yeah, I loved it. I loved living in Asia that year.
Yes. Well, that's so cool. You know, Charles Manson had conjugal visits.
Ah!
What he did.
Oh, yeah.
That's all I can say about that. So when you got on stage for the very first time, what in the world was that like before, during, and after that first time?
Well, it was really great because I worked with an amazing teacher here in Los Angeles for first timers. Her name is Bobby Oliver, and she has a great course. And in fact, I still do her courses occasionally because she's great for experienced comics too. But Bobby's first show, so my first real show was at the Ice House in Pasadena. And it was packed, with a loving audience, friends and family. I mean, it was great. It was the perfect, constellation to go like, this is great. Oh, I'm going to do this forever. Turns out all shows are not like that. It's sometimes hard to hold the audience's attention.
Yes. It's it's like a false positive
Yeah,
test.
exactly. Right. You're like, oh, this is great, but all shows won't be like that. So you learn to really value it. The
Yes.
really wonderful ones will live like in your memory.
Yes. I'm thinking of getting to know Bobby Oliver because I think when times are good, she's at an actual brick and mortar place.
She still is. Yeah. I mean, it can't be opened right now, but I read she just renewed her lease. So I would totally encourage. She's got a Monday night mic that's for women only, and it's so fun and great.
Nice. What's the biggest lesson in comedy that she gave you in class that if you wouldn't have if you wouldn't have heard from her what she taught you, it could have taken you another couple years to learn it, or you might never have?
Yeah, I think, with Bobby, it's definitely to write your own material and make it funny to you. And she, make it personal, right? So, like, say your name in the joke if someone's talking to you. It's Mary, this blah, blah. Yeah.
Give me an example of what you mean there.
Well, I wrote this joke about because I have my pilot's license, but when I was getting my license, I became afraid to land the plane because you have to point it down. So this is the joke: you have to point it down. And what they told me, I went to a shrink, and what they told me is, Mary, just imagine your parents on the runway holding out your hands. And she said to me, you should say, Mary, Mary. And then the punchline is, how hard do you want me to land this thing? Anyway, to make it personal about you, that's important.
That's a great trick to say your name in a joke.
Yeah.
Wow.
A couple of other people I've taught me have brought it up as well. I work right now with a very accomplished teacher, and he said the same thing too. So, but Bobby, yeah. Anyway, yeah, she's great. I highly recommend.
Wonderful. So you got to tour with and open for Dat Phan and Mike Epps. Yeah. So let's take a moment to really bask in the glory of that. Not a lot of people get to say that. Oh my gosh, Mary Becquet.
Well, most headliners do like switch out their openers, so it's never a multi-year thing. But it was really great. Mike Epps' manager really, for some reason, liked my comedy and picked me up to tour with them, and I did 10 dates with them across Texas. So that was very exciting. That was in 2016, and arenas, like huge 1 to 2,000 people. And, I couldn't do any wrong because they're there to see Mike Epps, who's hilariously funny. I remember I put on my makeup like out in my car. And when I came into the arena, they're like, here's your dressing room. And I was like, oh my God, flashes in the car. Like, that's the level I'm used to. Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
What was that experience like in front of all those people?
It was amazing. I mean, there's a lot of learning with the bigger arenas too. You have to wait. The laughs take longer to roll across. So you have to adjust your timing like that,
That's so cool. Oh my gosh, Mary.
Yeah, quite the adrenaline fueled thing. Yeah, I went.
So did you get to know him well, or was he always pretty busy, or is he off stage? Is he friendly?
I really got to know his manager, but I didn't get to know Mike very well at all. I don't even think he knows my name, quite frankly. His manager's super encouraging to me, and I'm still in touch with him. TC, and he has given me a couple of really good ideas about how to progress my own career. Cause like, that's what's really important. We know as comics, you're not always going to get the same gigs. You're not always even going to get all the good gigs. What's important is you have that drive that you're out there, you're asking, you're looking for it. And, you're pitching yourself just like you do. Yeah.
That's cool.
Oh, it's so much
So
fun.
then you also went on the road with our friend Dat Phan.
Yeah.
So how did you meet Dat? I met him at my first comedy club. He was just starting to take off. And
Wow.
yeah, and I never really talked to him there, but because he's from the same club, he was at the club I started at. I had a sweet spot in my heart for him.
Yeah.
So how'd you meet Dat?
I met him at this place called the Fourth Wall in Burbank, where he kind of works out and tests his material. And then he's a coach too. So I signed up and got some coaching from him. And it turns out like the way he teaches is a really great match for me and the way I learn. So he taught a lot of things actually about headlining. So now I'm a bit farther on in my career, right? So you're learning about how to manage the crowd. What's the energy? How do you make the connection? And also, Dat is amazing for performance coaching, just so many nuances. Yeah, also really great. But when I toured with him, we're going to review my performances and we're going to see like, how could you do this better? How could you do that better? You went a minute short. Why'd you do that? Right. And so, really, like a dojo, way more like a dojo type thing with Dat.
Yes.
Also, what a great learning experience. Just it was so good.
Yes. And so have you personally met and gotten to know his wife? She seems like a dreamboat.
She's amazing. Yeah, I've met Katie. I remember when they started dating.
No way.
The first time he introduced her to the students or whatever. Yeah. Yes, she's couldn't be nicer. Just a doll. Yeah.
She is. I just love hearing her comedy. It comes from such an authentically happy place.
Yes. Yeah.
And so real. She'll even throw Dat under the bus for a joke, and that's so fun.
Yeah.
I love it.
Both have that authenticity. So I just love both. They're really great.
Yes, they're just themselves, and that's so great. So many people are so fake in show business. Mm-hmm. So let's get to show business. What is this thing called buried in the backyard?
It's just a TV credit.
So talk to me about it.
Well, it's a reality show. Basically, I think in these murder true crime shows, you get cast for the way you look. So I looked like this woman, Teresa, I forget her last name, who was a suspect of a murder. Actually, the episode just aired on Thanksgiving. So they spray painted my hair black, and I was a criminally type and got arrested, thrown in jail. Turns out I didn't do the murder, but I did steal some stuff. I mean, the character did.
Did you do some research on stealing before you played the part?
Well, on murders, yes, I did. Yeah. Well, I love acting too. Comedy and acting are both my jam. My dad was an actor in Texas.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Military and an actor.
Yeah, and he was quite talented too. He was a SAG actor. He was in The Great Waldo Pepper and The Texas Chainsaw Massacre and a movie called Lead Belly about a blues singer. He worked a lot. Yeah. So, and my dad always discouraged me from being an actor because he's like, you need to make money, right? He's like 98% of actors do not make a living at it. So you need to do something else first. But now at my advanced age, I'm like, well, okay, I've achieved the middle class. So now I can do acting.
Yes.
So, I love acting. I apply for everything, student films, everything, because it's all learning. It's all just about doing it. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. If you send me the link to Buried in the Backyard, I'll share it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, let me see if I can find it. I think it streams on Hulu. So let me try and find a clip. Yeah, there's a clip service that I'm supposed to call them and get a clip now that it's aired.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So what's the goal for Mary Becquet? What's your goal in life? do you like, my goal is to get so good that everybody who's ignored my comedy can't ignore it anymore. And I get on Madison Square Garden. I don't care if I'm on there for 1 minute. It's a goal.
Wow, that is great. I think for me, my goal is to do like be a regular on a TV series, like a comedy one where I could use my comedic timing, but also just really build a funny character that people can relate to.
That's so cool.
A character with flaws. That's why I love comedic characters, because it's just so fun to dig into all the stuff that's wrong with us.
Tell me a show on TV from the past or current where the kind of role that you were like, dang, I could have played that part. Not that, just no regrets, but just like if a role like that came up, I'd want it.
Oh my gosh. I think a lot of sitcom wives, like in Everybody Loves Raymond, his wife. I just love her, Patricia Healy. She's so funny. And there was another great movie, a series called Christella. That was conceived by Christella Alonso, and she played herself basically to comedic effect. She was hilarious. And even Issa Rae's series, I can't remember the name of it, Miss Judge or something. I can't remember. But same thing, like just somebody who has all those flaws, but you can see like the ups and the downs of their life. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's a cool goal. So same thing I ask every time to everybody. If you were to pass on, or when you pass on, what is it you want to be remembered for as a human? Not for your accomplishment in acting or comedy, but as a human, what would you want people to come to your grave and say to someone else? Now there's whatever.
That is such a great question, Linda. I think, for me, I do feel like I have a mission in comedy, which is to help other women, because opportunities are more rare for us. And so I try and help people behind the scenes a lot of times, and I never charge anything for it. So I guess I would like to be remembered like, oh, she helped me, and she didn't even like go like brag about it, right? So
absolutely. There's a lot of women in comedy trying to get in each other's way or be subversive, like in my, yeah, like sneaky, passive aggressive stuff, like I'll give you the recipe and I'll leave out the main ingredient. How are you going to make chicken noodle soup without the chicken?
I would do that.
Yeah.
I think it's really important to lift each other up, and like some other gal gets a spot I was hoping for, it still lifts all of us up for anyone, right? To get more roles. And that's one thing I love about Dat and Bobby. They're both very egalitarian, making sure that their shows are diverse. And of course, me and my producing partner, Suan Weaver, started our own all-female show. It's called Hot Medusa. And I recently stopped sharing that with her because I'm just too busy. But Suwan is taking it and flying with it. And you should submit, because Hot Medusa is based at Flappers, and it tries to put women of all ages, all ethnicities, all orientations on stage. That's what it's about, is creating stage time for women or female identifying people.
Suwan invited me to it in January.
Great. I love that. Oh, excellent. See, great minds think alike.
Yes. And you started it with her. Good job.
Yeah. Yeah, we actually, there were 3 of us at first. But like, I feel like that's how it is with women partnerships. We can go like, okay, I'm not in, like, you guys can do this by yourselves, right? And the 2 of us went, yes, we can. And then I went like, oh my God, Swan, I'm too busy. She's like,
happens.
I attend them all and support. I just, as producing stuff is a ton of work. Yeah.
There's so much behind the scenes. 5 minutes is 15 or 20 behind the scenes. So take an hour if you're going to do it right. I'm not saying I always do it right, but when I do, it's time.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have a great time, and you know what? You should definitely network. Everybody that is on the show with you, I'm sure you already do this, right? Get their names, follow them on, Insta. When we were doing the show live, we used to have a green room with food to create a space where just women comedians could hang out and talk. Because, as you know, also, right? Usually, there's only one woman on a show, maybe two. So where do you get to hang out with headliners who are touring and learn the stuff that routinely young male comics get to do, right?
Yes.
So that was partly why we created Hot Medusa and why we try and book like as big headliners as we can to just, help expand everybody's networks.
That's super.
Yeah.
So, Monique Scott, do you know who that is in Patterson, New Jersey?
I don't think I know her.
Get to know her because she puts on she has a comedy club. She's the first female Black-owned comedy club in New Jersey.
Great.
And she's dope. She's so naturally funny and so supportive of everybody. And she has like a Women Crush Wednesday show, and she has I think it's once a month she has a show where women only get to come on and have 30 minutes to tell their life story in the things you've been through that were horrible and how you've used them to your advantage and to other people's advantage. So like a healing thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get 30 minutes. It's like you have your own one-woman show.
I love that. Yeah,
So
I would definitely want to go watch that for sure. Yeah, after the thing, text me her name and stuff.
Okay, super. What I'm going to give you, we've been on here a little while and I don't want to keep you all day. I've gone 30 minutes ish. So what is it that I'll give you 5 minutes to just talk to people. Some people come on and watch a couple seconds and then they go, nah, never mind. Or they watch the whole thing, or they just come on and look at the end. So if somebody's just tuning in or watched the whole thing, what do you want them to know about Mary Becquet?
Oh my gosh, thank you so much. Well, I'm a LA-based comedian and actress. I've got some shows coming up. There's one this Friday night called the Friday Night Funnies. Yeah. And
I'm so jealous you're on that show.
that's produced by Keisha Norton. I'm sure you should submit.
I was on it last week, and then Joey Medina and Jason Chaney are on that one.
Oh yeah, Joey Medina is so funny. Yeah, so I just love her. She's great. So tune in on that. And then, gosh, I'm on this Henry Garcia show the following Saturday.
Yay.
Yeah, and that's like something of Women of Comedy. But I should have changed my thing. But follow me at Mary B3, the numeral 3 on Instagram. I always promote my shows and stuff on there. We just want to make people laugh. Like, let's all try and get through this 2020 disaster, right? In a good mood. That's my goal right now. Make it through the year.
Just come on, 2021.
Right, exactly. And that's it. Like, I don't have anything else. I'm just a comic trying to make people laugh. But thank you so much for having me on here.
Tell people how to describe your comedy. I'll sit here and ask you questions till the cows come home, but you're used to that. You're from Texas. So.
Okay. Well, my comedy is mostly clean. It's like PG-13 to a little bit of R sometimes if I'm feeling kind of frisky. But I do a lot of clean work. I do corporate comedy spots. I work with a couple of bookers. And so I got a lot of jokes about debits and credits. Dumb words that people say in business, like at the end of the day, what matters? Come on, at the end of the day, I'm going to be closing this computer and getting a glass of wine. That's what happens at the end of the day. So I do a lot of corporate-based stuff. I do clean comedy about, my husband. My husband's a chef. Hilarious.
What kind of chef?
He is mainly savory stuff. So like meat, sauces, stuff like that. Not a baker. Baking is more chemistry. So no baking. But like, oh my God, he can smoke a turkey. I must be the only adult woman in America that's never cooked a turkey.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. So, kind of family themes and also women empowerment, grousing at how much I get yelled at by men. It's a daily thing.
Oh my gosh. All righty. Well, you're just a delight. I loved you from the moment I heard you at Dat Fans. And I'm so glad that you're part of a bigger network in comedy and around the LA. And now you can go, and you've been around the world with your comedy.
Yes.
It tickles me to no end to know that there's a wonderful female comedian I've never heard you be anything but suggestively are, and that is something that I think you need to like people need to know that you're not a filthy comic. You're not just up there talking about sex noises. You have content.
To me, yeah, and that's all about that, the writing on keeping it personal, right? So sex is pretty universal. Anyway, if
Yes.
I talk about sex, it's just how bad at it I am.
I love that. I love self-deprecating humor. Oh my gosh.
Well, you're also very funny. Like I said, I am your biggest fan. I think you're
Ah.
awesome and so funny. I'm like, okay, she is a pro. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. I'm the reason that Portland comics started smoke breaks at open mics. They got tired of rolling their eyes and going like this to the person next to them. Not her again.
I feel that way too. Like I used to have clients up in Seattle. So I was going up to Seattle every week and I started hitting a bunch of mics and I kind of felt the same. Like I'm not hip, I'm not a hipster. I would make fun of their beanies, in fact. But you know what? Like that's part of our drive. You just have to power through that. Not everybody's for everybody. I don't care what you think of me, other comics. I'm here to work my stuff.
Yes. Yes. I know that I was told by a major club in Portland that I don't care how funny you ever get, you're never going to get work out of Portland, Oregon.
Mm.
And I'm like, whoa, that's a challenge. Keep talking.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Like you didn't let it stop you. That's what I love about you. And so you found your market. Like you seem very busy in Vegas.
Yeah, I love Vegas. The comics here are so
Oh, they're great.
welcoming and supportive and not threatened, and they don't see you as it's kind of hard to see me as competition,
No,
but like even if they could, they don't.
yeah, like Don Barnhart. I opened for him for a week in San Antonio, and he's always been just great. And his wife Linda, she's great too. Yeah,
I
I've
love
always
them.
wanted to kind of come through and say hi to them. I just haven't done it yet.
Oh, you have to come when the world opens up, right?
Oh, amen. Right now, as we're closing down again, that's me knocking on wood.
Oh my gosh, this crazy world.
I mean, you could never foresee this a year ago, right? You're just like, even though we were starting to hear about the virus and we're like, ooh, better not go to China. Too late.
I thought I never saw President Reagan coming from movie star to president, let alone what's happened as of late.
My mom hated him so much. I'm just like, why do you hate him, Mom? She was a Democrat. She's like, star.
He did have really good belt buckle collections, though.
Oh God, he was charmer.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I got to say, ever since, the thing popped off with Kennedy in Texas, sorry, but, like I hadn't been really hip on finding a president because I was really I was enamored by, and this isn't politics, this is just Obama and Kennedy. Some people just, besides their politics, they just sweep you off their feet. You're a fan.
Yeah.
I was a fan of Kennedy, and that really hurt.
Oh yeah. Well, like he came into office on a wave of enthusiasm. So I remember when he was shot and like it was just devastating to my mom too. Yeah. I mean, we have to still keep the faith in our form of government, though. I hope at some point we're able to get back that enthusiasm and have someone who's truly working for us, the people,
Yes.
themselves.
Yes. And I just hope that everybody in America raises their ethical game, not just a leader or leaders or people
Yeah.
here and there, so that when somebody comes along that isn't as ethical as they are, they'll say, no, wait a minute, that's an ethical problem.
Right.
Like, where'd that go? Come on, folks, step up your game.
I think that's important. Yes. I hope the same.
Yes, yes, I want America. Anyway, is your father, the veteran, still alive?
No, he passed away in 98, actually. He's been gone a while, but
Sorry.
just love my dad. Yeah, he was
Yeah.
great.
And his spirit is still with you, and you're planning on doing some things in honor of him by getting out there to the armed forces entertainment type of venues. So that'll be a cool way to honor him.
Yeah, he would love that. And in fact, there's some actors here in LA who worked with my dad, who I know. Like
No.
they knew me when I was a little girl. Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. What a great thing that is. My goodness.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like our relation, like I don't even ask them about acting work stuff. We've known each other. I've known them my whole life. So a lot of them did come out here and have success. So
That's
great to
cool.
have successful friends. So I'm always happy about that.
Yes. Yes. You're so hysterical. You don't even have to tell a joke and I'm laughing.
Oh, stop. You're the same. This is so much fun. I really appreciate the time.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming on to Comic Spot. You guys, she said her Instagram handle, it was Mary B at Mary B1.
Mary B3.
Mary B3 is her Instagram handle. She has some shows coming up. If anything you want me to promote, if you haven't sent, I'll go back through what you sent. I'll put it on there with my afterthoughts, and so that people can peruse and read or watch the video or whatever. And then anything else you want to send me, I'll add it to it as well.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Linda. It's really been fun.
Thank you so much. I love you lots.
All
Take
right.
care. I miss you already.
I know. All right. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, bye.